A hero's journey. In this video, I will be analysing how composers use the hero's journey by discussing two stages of the hero's journey by using The Alchemist and Captain America. The two stages that I will be using is the Call to Adventure and the Road of Trials. The hero's journey was created by Joseph Campbell, who was a curious mythologist. In the field of comparative mythology, instead of looking at the differences in the hero's journey, Campbell looked for the similarities, and his studies resulted in what's called a monomyth. The monomyth is a universal story structure. It's a kind of story template that takes a character through a sequence of stages. The main character in a monomyth is the hero. The hero isn't a person, an archetype, a set of universal images, combined with specific patterns of behaviour. The Road of Trials means that the hero has a problem that is designed to expose its vulnerabilities and to prepare it for the greater ordeals yet to come. The call to adventure can be defined as some information, such as a challenge or a request, which is received by the hero and will require some form of action which takes it off into the unknown. The Alchemist is a novel written by Brazilian author Paulo Coelho that was first published in 1988. The Alchemist follows the journey of an Andalusian shepherd boy named Santiago, believing a recurring dream to be perfected. A woman interprets the dream as a prophecy, telling the boy that he will discover a treasure at the Egyptian pyramids. Throughout his mission, Santiago dealt with many tests and trials. It began in Tangier. Santiago was robbed and left with nothing but his stones. He asked these stones if he should return home and give up on his journey, but ultimately decides that it is his decision and elects to stay. Coelho uses irony by Santiago trusting the thief rather than the barman. As shown on page 41, as the sun began to set, he was in a different country, a stranger in a strange land, where he couldn't even speak the language. Irony is shown because he expected the outcome to be something different. The call to adventure happens when Santiago meets the gypsy, and she tells him to follow his personal legend by interpreting his dream of him finding treasure in the Egyptian pyramids. On page 14, a technique that is used is symbolism. Symbolism is used when the gypsy woman says, "Dreams are the language of God. If he speaks in the language of the soul, it is only you who can understand." The symbolism used gives an entirely different meaning to dreams, which is much deeper and more significant. Captain America, the First Avenger, was released on the 28th of July, 2011, which was directed by Joe Johnston. The movie is based in 1941 and the world is at war. Steve Rogers wants to do his part and join America's armed forces, but the military rejects him because of his small stature. Finally, Steve gets his chance when he is accepted into an experimental program that turns him into a super soldier called Captain America. For the Road of Trials, Steve goes through many trials, which happen along his hero's journey. One of these trials was when Captain America fights the Red Skull, but he escapes. As shown in the image, when the Red Skull is fighting Captain America, the Red Skull is winning. The film technique used in the image is a low-angle shot, which makes the Red Skull look strong and powerful. Captain America's call to adventure began when Dr. Erskine gave him a chance to be in the army. So after weeks of Steve training to be in the army, Dr. Erskine wanted him to volunteer in his experiment called the Super Soldier, which was his call to adventure. The film technique shown in the image is a medium shot. This shows the dialogue sequences and allows the viewer to pick up on Steve Rogers and Dr. Erskine's movements and gestures. Body language is important to conveying emotion, and the medium shot remains close enough to capture the emotions of both Steve Rogers and Dr. Erskine. The similarities and differences between Captain America and The Alchemist. The similarities between Captain America and The Alchemist was that both characters had to have someone to put them on their journey. They both started out as regular ordinary people, and both had problems along their hero's journey. The differences between Captain America and The Alchemist was that Dr. Erskine practically gave Steve his powers, but the gypsy woman told Santiago that he has to go find his personal legend. Santiago was trying to find his personal legend, but Captain America wanted to be in the army, and they both had very different problems along their hero's journey. In conclusion, this is how composers use the hero's journey, by me discussing two stages of the hero's journey and by analysing the texts such as The Alchemist and Captain America, First Avenger.